Hello and welcome to Parenting After Divorce. I'm Lene Pompeo.
And I'm Michael Pompeo, and in this series, we're talking about how to create an extraordinary co-parenting partnership with your ex so that your kids are free to thrive. Today, we're really excited to be interviewing Nadja Hall. Nadja Hall founded Blended in Black, and that's a solution-based platform dedicated to mending and blending step families. As a change agent, she has built one of the most recognizable brands in the blended family niche. In under 2 years, Blended in Black community has grown an organic following of over 50,000, including an 8,000 member Blended in Black Facebook support group. Aside from servicing clients as a full-time family life coach, Nadja recently published her first book, Girl Bye. She's not going anywhere, neither are you. Nadja earned a bachelor's from University of Tennessee in Family and Consumer Sciences. And be sure to stay tuned throughout the entire 30-minute interview to receive an amazing free gift that she's offering. An amazing free gift that she's offering all of you guys so graciously. You'll find out more about that at the end. You don't want to miss it.
Yes. So Nadja, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Lynn, for having me. I'm excited.
Aw, yay, I'm so excited too. Well, I just want us to jump right in. And so I'd love to hear more about your story. How did you even get into starting Blended in Black and becoming an author? Like, how did you get into this and what's your background?
Well, I got into it not voluntarily. I fell in love with a guy who had 3 kids, and I was one of these girls that promised myself I would never date a man with kids. I'm single. I got it going on. I live in Manhattan, Sex in the City, and then boom, that guy became this guy, and all of those nevers became things that were major life lessons for me. I ate my words essentially. I started doing this work because it became my real life. I was surrounded in conflict and drama and nastiness and unhealed emotions. And I've never seen anything like this. My parents are still married. My husband's parents are still married. And here I am dating a divorced dad whose family had been devastated by this thing, because divorce is essentially the death of an original family unit. So boom, there's 5 of them. This thing crumbles. What was happening in my own situation is they didn't find there was no healthy way to reconcile. This is my life without family looking the way that I had planned it. And then here comes boom, my little cute behind thinking I'm just going to be invited into the party. Like, hey guys, Miss Nadja's here. And that wasn't the case at all. They let me know that I was not welcome. I was not intended to be there, nor was I invited. And it was hard. It was tough. I'm a step parent of 3, 1 teenager and a set of twins. And the first thing that I started to notice is that the parents in this thing, and my husband was responsible too, just as much as the co-parent. He was responsible too. The parents did not handle the divorce or the dissolution of this family in the best interest of the kids. Because let's be straight, I mean, people aren't taught how to break up. We're not taught how to handle heartbreak. We're not taught how to deal with mental illness and personality disorders. And so all of these things that I was starting to experience in my own life led me to Google, which led me to realize there weren't that many resources out there for me. There just weren't. I mean, I saw my pastor. He told me to pray it away. God bless him. I saw a therapist, and no offense, but this guy, I could not relate to him in any way, shape, form, or fashion. So I didn't feel a connection, and so he couldn't help me. And so I did what a woman does. I built. I studied. I got advanced education. I got certified. I gave away my 15,000 free hours of working, coaching, teaming up with people, and I built something. So that's how I got here. That's how I'm sitting here with you guys right now.
Wow.
Love that.
And then wow. And I love that it's not just something that maybe you were just, I don't know, randomly interested in, but it's actually like it was a huge need of your own to have help. And so you saw a need and you just wanted to start filling it, right? And
the best things are birthed that way. Like when you realize I need this thing and you have this sense of personal responsibility to say, there's a gap, there's something missing. And instead of being like, someone needs to do something about it, what I hear from you is you're just like, I'm going to fill that need and I'm going to be the one. And I really can respect and appreciate that about you and what you're up to. It's just awesome.
Thank you.
Used your life was your laboratory. I've heard people say, right?
Exactly. Don't they say the best inventions come from necessity? You know, I felt like I was in the bottom of a dark well all alone by myself, and I had the tools to build this ladder to get myself up to the top. And you know, years and experience and education taught me how to piece it together. And once I got myself up to the top, back above water, I was like, I'm pulling everybody out. I will quit being a life coach when everybody's pulled out of that dark well of family dissolution. And I'm going to be in business for a long time because that ain't happening anytime soon.
Yeah, unfortunately not.
Yeah. No. I think so many people face that same situation that it feels like you faced and we did, where you just kind of assume that, hey, I'm a good person. You know, I love people. I bet I'll be able to figure this out. And you look inside, or you think through things, or you go to your pastors or whoever, you try these different resources and nothing's really working. And then you get angry or you're resentful or just hopeless and depressed. And then you start telling yourself, well, it just has to be this way. And you stop looking for ways to actually improve it. And so that's one of the reasons that's what we did. And so that's one of the reasons we're doing this, is because we want people to see that, no, you don't necessarily have to accept where it is right now. There is a chance for it to change and improve. And there are experts out there who've used their life as a laboratory and have done the studies, you know, to really make sure that you get the help you actually need. So that's why we're so excited, because we've been there, not knowing where to turn. So anyway, okay, so back to your book. So you wrote Girl Bye. She's not going anywhere, neither are you. I love the title.
It's so long. Oh my gosh, should have made it shorter. It's so long.
Well, no, that's great.
I love it though.
It's good, man. So, because you already kind of get a sense of, okay, what it might be about, but, you know, help us get a sense of, you know, maybe some of the key takeaways that you really wanted people to get from the book. Of course, people need to go and read it to get the fullness of it, but, you know, what are some things that on your heart, this is your message really in there? What would you say that is?
So Girl Bye, she's not going anywhere, neither are you. You can tell by the she that it's a manuscript meant for women. I wish I would have included the stepdads and the biological fathers as well. But at the time, my major, the client that I needed to service the most was women, because I was getting these mothers and these stepmothers just angry, like literally cats and dogs. It's a mom and a stepmom. It's kind of like that Tom and Jerry. And, you know, we probably got millennials watching this, so I don't know if they know who that is, but it's like a cats and dogs type of thing. You're automatically assumed to be natural enemies. And so a lot of women, a lot of stepmothers come in guarded, thinking, well, I know I need to be treat these kids like my own, but I need to stay in my lane because they're not mine. And the mother's like, who the hell do you think you are, honey? I don't need your help. You just, you know, so these women did not know how to coexist. And so what the book, it actually started off as a book, but then I had to make it a workbook, because I was like, I don't want these girls just reading. I need them out there doing the work. My form of coaching is, I made it so that the people that don't hire me as a coach can get a feel for what it is like to work with me. And working with me is work. I give homework. I hold you accountable. We talk about childhood trauma. We talk about why you handle things the way you do. I also kind of push people to see the other woman's perspective, which is something that's very difficult for a lot of people, because they're so focused on their pain. This is what's happening to me, and I hurt the most. It's kind of like a pissing contest for who's the most hurt. And in the book, I'm kind of dispelling a lot of that. Like, listen, if you want to be okay, then you'll get the book. And if you finish the book, then you're committed to that. So, but I will say this, it is interchangeable with guys, but I don't know if guys are going to sit and fill out an interactive workbook, because also with it, I realized that, you know what, Nadja, writing a book wasn't enough. Make it a workbook. Making a workbook wasn't enough. So then I did videos for every chapter. So just like I'm sitting here talking to you guys right now, I went through all the pages, because I was like, I want this to be for people that care about their families and about their sanity, and they want to be okay. So there's a video, like 20-minute video for every chapter, and people are sitting there, and I get emails every day like, oh my God, Nadja, I feel like I know you, because I'm yelling and cussing and I'm being myself in that thing, but then I'm also offering real solutions, because that's what people want. They're thirsty for help and solutions.
Yes, and they're thirsty.
Oh, and I'll say this. it's not a book that's teaching mothers and stepmothers how to get along. Because if you have one person in that co-mothering relationship or co-parenting relationship that's dead set on being divisive, then it's not going to work. You won't have a co-parent. In some cases, many of us have counter-parents. So the book is more about teaching you how to see the other person's perspective so that they don't piss you off so much, so that you don't allow them to trigger you so much. You know, you can say, the book it entices you to look in their past childhood trauma and maybe make some assumptions about why they are the way they are. Maybe fighting and cursing is a familial thing for them. Maybe this is what they saw in their family unit, and so this is all they know. So, you know, it teaches you about perspective as well.
Love that.
It sounds like a good reminder that you just truly can't control people. And so, you know, as much as there might be some great tools to help you invite someone to do something different, that's all you can do. You can't control them. So if they decline, then you're still left with, okay, how am I going to respond? Am I going to let them bump me out of my own peace and out of my own character? Or do I want to maintain character, maintain peace, right? Is that kind of what you're getting at? Is like how to still...
That's exactly what I'm getting at. You know, one of my clients, she was a stepmother, and she was like, Nadja, she became a client because she read the book, and she was like, I gotta have you every day or every week, you know, whatever. And she was like, I bought the book for my stepdaughter's mother, and she burned it. She was like, she burned it and she threw it. So you cannot you can't force feed a person help. You can't do that, but you can help yourself. So that's what it's about.
Wow.
Crazy, right? Good, I was like, good luck with that, honey.
It's interesting because as a stepmom, one of the things that I learned just from these interviews that we've been doing over the past couple of months is how much of a fantasy I had about, you know, blending our families together, and we're all going to get together for birthday parties and Christmas, and we're all going to be laughing together and taking family photos. And the fact that it wasn't that way, I put on myself. Like, there's something I'm doing or not doing that's having this relationship not go the way I fantasized about it. And letting go of that, like Mary Poppins ideal that it has to be that way, and for me to be seen as a good person. And it's like, you know, sometimes you really do all that you can do and then some. If you're reading books, if you're coming to online shows to become an extraordinary co-parent, you're doing all that you can do. And I just want anybody who's out there feeling like how I felt, which is down on myself about it, that sometimes there's really that you've done all that you can do, and you're doing everything just by being in the work, you know. And so I don't know if you can relate to that, Nadja, but that's
God,
like that.
I kind of, because you know, as the second wife or stepmother, or the new woman, as some people like to call it, you have a certain insight into that woman's history that she doesn't have into yours, because your man has told you a lot of her tea. He's told you about some of their experiences. He's told you what type of mother she is, what type of partner she was. So you kind of know. And me coming into it, I knew that it was going to be a firestorm. But even considering the things that I knew about that person and their background, I still did not think it would be the way that it was. And I say was not because she has changed, but because I have had to change. I noticed, like you said, you had expectations like, hey guys, I'm Lynn, I'm so cute, I'm here, we got him, stepmom. They're like, bitch, we didn't invite you to this party, Lynn. And I had to really look at that. Like, if you have a woman who had her entire life planned out with your husband, that is the father of my children. We're going to have a house together. We're going to retire together. We're probably going to go to Fiji one year. We're saving up for this vacation. And boom, this life falls apart. She had this whole thing planned, and she just never had you or me or whomever's watching. She didn't have you. He or she did not have you planned as a part of their big picture. And that takes a lot of unraveling. Most people don't have the capacity to unravel that stuff. And so you are like a walking, living, breathing reminder of their life's failures. Every single plan that they had, you are a living, breathing thing that is a representation of their failure. So yeah, they're pissed off, and they have to find a circle. It's not your responsibility. They got to find a circle to help pull them out of that. Just like I had to pull myself, you guys have resources. They can either fester in the funk of the disillusion of their life, or they can find some help. But like I said, most people don't really want help, because getting help means you kind of got to own up to some stuff that you did. Like,
Yeah.
well, we were going to have this beach house in Fiji, or we're going to take a vacation to Fiji, but I spent all the money. Or I had a drug problem, or I had mental health issues and I didn't get it worked on, or I cheated. Like, facing that ugly truth of accountability to things that I did, that's too hard. So let's just be easy. Let's just make it, I'm going to hate this new person, and I'm going to hate my ex.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that answered a question, but yeah.
Oh, good. It
So
did.
good.
It kind of lead. Good.
No, it's perfect. And I mean, obviously, just from what you're sharing, I'm getting a sense that your husband's ex may be more of a high conflict situation than maybe you wanted it to be. And I could get a sense that you've dealt with that. So what would you say, do you have any advice for parents out there that are dealing with a high conflict situation? Like, what can people do to make their lives work if they're dealing with that?
Oh my God. Living alongside a counter parent, because I can't call them a co-parent because they're countering everything you do.
I love it.
You know how you have a gnat that's buzzing in your ear? No. Okay. You know how you have a bee, and bees sting and they hurt. And then, you're afraid to kind of swat it because bees are tricky. I don't know if you guys have had a bee sting, but it hurts. Kind of like divorce. Like, it stings, it hurts. It takes a while to dispel it. Okay, boom. You smack that bee, you're done with it. The bee comes back in the form of a fly. And flies that come and sit on your food and they bite you and they have these little like itchy bumps. Okay, boom. You swat the fly and you kill it. Then a gnat. Then this gnat appears. And gnats are little. They're not as harmful as a bee because they don't sting you. They're not going to be like a fly because they don't have this buzzing noise that's constant. But then this gnat, it's there. It's annoying. It's not really that harmful because you've dealt with bigger monsters, bigger insects. I'm using an insect analogy. But then it's there. And so then you kind of either swat it when it gets in your way, or you do things to protect yourself from it. Well, this is what I tell people to do. When you're in any sort of high conflict situation, whether it's a co-parent, a co-worker, whatever, you kind of just got to see this person as a gnat. Now, you can allow them to be a bee in your life, but this means you have not done a proper job of setting up boundaries for yourself. So boundaries, number one. This person is not a thorn in my side. They don't have to be a thorn in your side. But I see it as, like a little annoying, buzzing little gnat. You're just like, get out of here, Just make this thing so small. Visualize it being so small and so powerless in your own mind. That's the first thing that I would tell you to do. You don't see this person as a formidable opponent, because they're not. Because a person that's constantly trying to attack you and keep your children from you and steal from you and change the way others perceive you, they're not a healthy person. They're still full of vengeance. So they're so focused on vengeance that they can't focus on being an effective human being, let alone a parent or a co-parent. So you got to see them for what they really are, the small buzzing annoyance. And once you silence that in your own head, and I'm not going to say convince yourself of it because it's a truth in your life. But once you come to understand that, then you're well on your way to healing. And then the second thing is you got to set some boundaries. If this person is getting on your nerves or pissing you off or being disrespectful, why are they allowed to contact you? Why are they allowed to call your phone, block them? One thing about a narcissistic personality or a disordered personality of any kind is they hate boundaries. But if you usher them into a small corner, like if they have this much of your brain space to play with and you put them there, then they're just going to cause havoc right there. So give their behinds a little small space. And you do that by blocking them from calling your phone or texting your phone. You say, hey, I'm no longer, because of your nature, I'm no longer going to accept phone calls or text messages from you. Email me at this place, and then create a specific email address just for them so you can filter that crap. So it's not in your inbox every day, so you're not seeing it.
That's really
And even better, if you want to be cute about it, you go to court and you ask the judge to make an order that they only communicate you through one of the parenting apps. My Family Wizard is a good one. Talking Parent is a good one, and I'm not sponsored by any of these people, so I'll name them all. They have parenting apps that are upheld through the courts, and if you put boundaries on this person and they know the judge could possibly see all this crap that they spew, they're going to stop. You got to make them, if they don't want to be a gnat, you got to make them a gnat. Put them in that small little space.
It's really good because there's so many times where I felt like I had no control because you never know when you're going to get the phone call or the text message, and you could be in just a happy state and you're with your family and your kids, and then the text comes in. And as much as I'm like, oh, I'm not going to read it, like you kind of want to read it, like what is it? And then you read it, and then, you know, it's just I felt at the effect of a lot of times. And so what I'm hearing you say is, set your life up in such a way where you can be in control. You decide when you're going to read it. You decide what you're going to, you know, and so I like that. And I think that's really, really good advice for people. It's very practical. Something that they can do. Yeah. Love that.
Yeah. I love the practical tips that it sounds like you lean towards being highly applicable in the principles that you walk people through, which I love because that's
smart. Yeah. You got to do the work. If you want to regulate something in your life, whether it's your weight, heart disease, a high conflict co-parents, you got to do the work to regulate that thing. So yeah, you know, I give practical stuff, but then it's like, you got to do it. You know, you have to, people out there, you got to do it.
So you're in this, you know, well, you just were describing how to respond to high conflict people. So as a co-parent, you have all these other relationships as well, like with the kids themselves, with the person you're married to, even the extended family, all these people that are now you're having to maintain healthy or build healthy relationships with. So I'm wondering, in a larger sense, is there some kind of core philosophy that has really aided you that overlaps into all these relationships for you? It's just a core commitment or philosophy that that guides you through all of those relationships? Anything like that?
Excuse my French, but I'm gonna say, don't be a jerk. Don't be a jerk. And I always tell myself, Nadja, don't be a jerk. And by being a jerk means when I was like, you know, Lynn, you would see something, you'd be having a great day, and then boom, you get a text message and your anxiety goes through the roof. I didn't even know that I had issues with anxiety until this situation. Like, I feel like I had marriage onset anxiety, if that's a thing. I might need to go and trademark it. But yeah, like, you know, like blending onset anxiety or something. So I didn't know it was a thing. So my philosophy was, Nadja, don't be a jerk. Don't be a jerk. Be kind. And by don't be a jerk, I mean, don't allow this person that's projecting their pain onto you to gaslight you into hurting them. Because I see me fighting, for example, let's just say you have a very high conflict ex. High conflict people are people that are in pain, that are empty, and they are projecting all their crap onto you. So what do you look like hurting them back, this empty person? That's like you fist fighting a person in a wheelchair because they rolled over your foot. Yeah, they hurt you. Yeah, they use what they had, but they're not strong enough to get up and really knock you out like you could do them. So I always thought myself, if I respond, Nadja, if you respond to this is like you fighting a first person that's in a wheelchair. It's not fair because you have tools to crush this person. So this is where I had to be very strong and use some of my own principles about being kind and turning the other cheek. And when they hit me in that other cheek, then I can step back and call the cops. You know, you got to do things to protect yourself. But I would always say, ask yourself, is it worth, I always ask myself, Nadja, is this worth ruining your entire day? Because, you know, once you get dragged into one of those text fights or phone conversations, they've won because you feel so dirty afterwards. Yeah. You feel dirty. You're like, why? Especially if they make you say some nasty things, because now they can play the victim. Now maybe they can let the kids hear it, or they can show their friends what you said or post it on social media. They will do this. So you cannot give them any weapons by which to turn around and make you look like you're the narcissist. Can't do it. So I always said, don't engage. That's my second principle. Don't engage. Yeah. And if I do engage, it's always as a coach. I understand. You know, my thing, one of my favorite lines is, I understand how you could see things that way. because I can. I can understand how a high conflict person would see that I am an evil being because of their perception. I understand your perception. So I understand how you could see things that way. However, do you mind try looking at it like this? And one thing a high conflict person does is they want a reaction out of you. So they'll let you talk. Just speak in a very low tone like I'm doing now. Because then they have to shut up and listen. You see, when you're quiet, people have to listen. And so that's what I do. I speak in very slow, monotone, warm voice. And I feel it with love because it really is all love. Hate to sound corny, but it's just straight up love for me.
Yeah. That's
Love
good. That really, just really applicable and relevant, I feel like. Yeah, it's so simple, but you're right. Just stopping and I feel like if I was to just stop and ask myself, or just say, like, don't be a jerk. And I love how you twisted it in, like, you know, it wouldn't be fair to be a jerk right now. You know, this person is
handicapped.
Yeah, you could almost
emotionally handicapped. They are.
Yeah, not to insult them, but they're just not capable of responding differently. So you know, just let them respond how they respond. That's where they're at. They might stay there the rest of their lives, and you can't force them out of that. So that's just their thing, their handicap, just like you said.
Right.
And so it would be stupid, to be worthless, and yeah, unhelpful for me to like respond in the same way. So I love that. It's a really good.
Yeah. And I mean, this might be the same question worded differently. It might be completely different, but what do you find, Nadja, is like a common trap that you find your clients or other divorced or co-parenting individuals falling into when it comes to co-parenting? What do you see continuously goes wrong? What's a common trap that they fall into?
What continuously goes wrong in co-parenting and divorce? I see a lot of guilt on both sides. A lot of guilt. Like, you know, both parents may have contributed to the dissolution of the situation. Or if you're co-parenting and you were never in a relationship with the person, but boom, you got this kid that you got to raise. You're responsible for that. And so there's guilt over, oh my God, I'm not raising my kid in a 2-parent household. Or there's guilt over, I know that I did some things to ruin that marriage. And now it's dead and gone, and that person has moved on and they're never coming back. But many times I see guilt. People are failing to acknowledge and accept their own guilt and responsibility. And so they cover it with a shroud of resent and contempt. So that's one thing that I see that happens a lot. You know, guilt becomes this ugly, gooey, sticky, smelly thing because people just simply cannot say, I was wrong and I'm going to do the work to accept where my life is now, accept where it is today. I made my bed. I gotta lie in it. You know, this is just what it is. So I see parents getting caught up in guilt for sure. I see people that are not over the pain of the divorce. I think I mentioned this already, but I see them not doing the work to get over it before they start a new relationship. I see a lot of people, you know, smack dab in the middle of divorce proceedings or separation happening. And they're like, okay, I'm done. I'm going to go over here. And then you bring in another person into your crap. And so it's probably going to be high conflict, you know, if you've done that. But then yet and still, how long, then it means you have to acknowledge the other person's feelings. I created this system. It's called the ACE system. And it's something that I tell all co-parents to do. I even make my clients make it their screensaver for like a week. It's ACE. It's acknowledgement, acceptance, engagement, compassion, and empathy. You know, when I go on to describe what each of those things mean based on the person's situation. And if you inject these things into the fiber of your being, into every thought that you have, especially every interaction with your step parent, then you will at least know how to have a healthy conversation. Because it's hard. Like, you were once with this person and now you got to look at them living their separate life. And you have to, also, you got to not raise a serial killer. Like, that's tough.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, it's a hard job. But I see a lot of people failing miserably at that because they are not, you know, use the ACE method. I'll you know, you guys can show it on the screen or whatever. Use the ACE method. It'll help you a lot.
That's awesome.
Yeah, acknowledgement. That's big.
Yeah, acknowledgement is big. I think so often that's all we're often digging for. We just love to get from the person is just acknowledgement. And we don't
Oh,
realize that we're attached to it and digging for it in unhealthy ways. But so many of us would just be stopped in our tracks and silenced and put at ease if the person would just acknowledge and honor something about us or something that we did. And or even, whatever. So
and they're probably never going to do that. Like, you're never going to say, oh, you're a great parent. Because some people are unable to acknowledge your strengths because they feel like it kind of shines a light on their weaknesses.
Right.
And, you know, you got to be okay. You have to be like that. You got to accept the fact that they might not. You know, ACE is, you know, there's two A's for a reason: acknowledgement and acceptance. Like, you got to accept a lot of stuff when you're in this life if you want to be okay.
Yeah, that's really good. That's funny because our last question is usually, I don't think we need to ask it, but usually at the end, we always wrap up with what's, you know, if you were to summarize, you know, the heart of your message into just one action for people, because we like to make it highly, you know, action oriented. What would it be? But it sounds like ACE is really it. And we'll make sure if we can remember, I'm going to put a note here that to get that up on the page for this video, you guys, so that, you know, just scroll down, you guys who are listening, scroll down, you'll see the steps for ACE there on the page so that you guys can quickly get to that and maybe just copy it and paste it into your phones or whatever. Make sure you're using it, because I really think it would be huge.
You know what? I'll send you guys a meme that I send my clients, so everyone watching can just put it on their phone.
Perfect.
I love that. I love it. I heard this two to 3 days ago, and it stood out to me. And it's like you've heard it before, but it just stood out, and it's really relevant to what we're talking about. But it's, if there's anything you want to receive, give it away. If you want to receive acknowledgments, give acknowledgments. If you want to receive, you know, gratitude from somebody else, then be grateful. And that really stands out to me. And I'm like, I don't feel honored or acknowledged as a stepmom, someone who's raising someone's kids and loving someone else's kids, but am I acknowledging her? Am I honoring her? And honestly, not as often as I would like to receive it. So that's something that I could really be doing.
You know whose job it is? You know, who made you a stepmom though? That's what I had to ask myself, because, you know, I was getting visceral, like just this hatred. And I was like, Nadja, who made you a stepmom? Your husband did. My first priority is to be his wife and to take care of the things that he comes along with. And that means the children, who are, I call them my stepchildren, bonus children, you know, whatever term you guys want to use. So I found that if I wait on a woman to acknowledge me for bathing her children, cooking for them, showing them what romantic love for their father means, then I'll be waiting all damn day. I'll be waiting. But my husband does a great job at acknowledging me as a step parent, because it's a thankless job. You're totally volunteering for this job. It's thankless, but your spouse has to be the one to really acknowledge you. If you're waiting on that other person in another household who doesn't even see the hard work, they don't see you kissing their kids' boo-boos. They don't see you going to the grocery store just so you can buy the ingredients for the muffin that their child likes. They don't see that stuff. Your spouse, though, you got to look for that. You got to look for love where it's full. You know, his cup should be full. His or her cup should be full. And I teach people that, because you're probably never going to get acknowledgement from another person unless they're very healthy and you guys have transformed into a positive co-parenting, co-mothering situation.
But that's an action that the bio parent can take, is acknowledge your spouse. Acknowledge your spouse who's
you have to. You gotta. Because they don't have to do a thing for your kids, honey. Like, your spouse, your partner signed up to marry your behind. So when people say, oh my God, your stepmom, stop whining, you signed up for this. I signed up to be a wife. Like, I signed paperwork to be a wife. If you want to be technical about it, there's no legal paperwork I have with my stepchildren's name on it. So I didn't sign anything, actually. So, you know, like, we have to be very careful how we word things to people and how we try to shame them into certain things when we just, we have this one view of it. By being a wife, that means I'm going to be good to everything that my husband touches. And I'm going to I do love my stepchildren because they came from him. So Yeah, beyond that, you know, I tell people buzz off.
Yeah.
Stay, find yourself a lane and stay comfortably in that, you know, and let me stay in mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
That's a good point. The idea of, you know, you signed up for it, you're obligated to it, that it almost implies that you don't need to be acknowledged for doing it.
Yeah.
Or you're forced to do it, but you're not being forced to do it. So like you said, you're voluntarily doing it because you love them, and that needs to be, it deserves acknowledgement, put it that way. It deserves the acknowledgement. Whether or not you get it, like you said, you might not get it. Don't expect it, and don't make it contingent on the acknowledgement, or else you'll stop doing it because you might not get the acknowledgement. Just do it because you want to. But when you are someone who can offer the acknowledgement, by all means, because the person deserves it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it.
Thank you. Well, being that you gave so much implementation focused advice today and tips, like there's 4 or 5 things that people can walk away doing. I mean, I love the word pictures that you gave, because I'm very visual, and so the wheelchair and the bees, and like I can actually visualize it, and I can use that in my day-to-day. So I really thank you for that. And I know that other people are able to just like have that word picture in their mind, and it will really aid them in those tough times. So I think that's really, really great. And just to wrap up, Nadja, I know that you so generously are giving away an amazing free gift, and I want to hand it over to you real quick, and so you can describe what that is to everybody.
Okay. So there's a lot of people that from all walks of life, in every facet of their blending or not blending situation, and they need tools and resources. So what I do, what my team does, we scour the internet for all sorts of ebooks. We have co-parenting ebooks. We have a parenting plan for those of you guys that may not be able to afford an attorney. So we'll have a free one on there. There's a big library, a big database of ebooks that we have. You know how in court when they force you to take that parenting class and you're like, oh my God, I hate it. We got that book too. So there's like 20 or 30, but we're constantly updating every week. You know, when we find a good resource that'll help you guys, we put them all in one place. And so I'm giving that to you guys. You can take what you need from it, and you'll have lifetime access to it.
Wow.
That is awesome.
Thank you so much for that. That's incredible.
I love it. So, and listeners, we will have links for that below, so look out for that. We'll also have the links out to Nadja's other places that you could find her and get a hold of her for services, or just find her on Facebook, social media, etc. We'll have all that there for you, and make sure you dig into it and take action there. Obviously, that's what Nadja's all about anyway, so make sure you're taking action after listening to this episode.
Yeah, hopefully the whole series.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, fair enough. But well, I guess we want to acknowledge and thank you, Nadja, for being extraordinary, because that's what our summit is about. It's just how to give people access to tools and principles and concepts that can help them build something more extraordinary. And thank you for being extraordinary and setting that example and building this and offering your time today for free to everyone. Thank you.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much for calling me, and I'm so happy to be here. And whomever's watching, I hope you got something from this.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
And to acknowledge all of our listeners, you are extraordinary as well. If you're on here and listening, it's because you did want something more for your family, and you're willing to try on something new ideas, new ways of being. And so we acknowledge you as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
everybody.
we love all of you. Until next time, we'll see you on the next episode.
Bye, everyone.